And this is not the Lego room. I mean, it is. It was from April 2021 up to now. It was the Lego room, but it doesn't feel very Lego anymore, huh? It's also feeling very square, which is a very Lego thing. A lot of Lego is square. So it would be, I only thought about it right now. It wasn't even the original intent. When I moved in, I was like, oh yeah, it's square, like a Lego brick usually is. That would have been really, really smart. But that was not intentional. So this was a room that originally was kind of just a spare room when we moved. Originally planned that the back two rooms of the house were bedrooms. There were one for each person, have their own stuff in them, and this was just kind of the extra room, no, not needed for anybody. Um, it was tossed around once or twice of maybe using as a guest room or some other purpose like that, but eventually wasn't. So it became the Lego room, and that's something that I had before I moved. I've done numerous videos in 20, it's either 2015 or 16 to 2021, being in a basement state, basement space for a Lego room. And what we have here is not basement level. Everything's ranch style for the house. No upper or lower floors or whatever. Um, but this was designated originally as the Lego room. The room measures at 87 inches by 87 and a half inches. And I only figured that out now, or I knew that when I moved, but then I lost the notes, and then I only figured it out now when I moved a whole bunch of furniture out of the way. So why is there nothing in here? Where's the building table? Where's the chairs? Where's the other shelf? Why is the table facing this way and not that way? What's going on? So the idea that I've had over the past pretty much since I came back. Actually, it was a little bit before Brick Fair, Pennsylvania, and then you know, getting more in shape with it after Brick Fair, Pennsylvania. The idea was to swap so that the larger, taller, and somewhat wider room that I have as a bedroom right now would swap with this one, and this would become my bedroom. Have the essentials, maybe a little bit of video games and stuff if it works out, in this space. And then the larger room would become the Lego room. So that way, wide tables like this can really get to breathe. Otherwise, they've been really crushed in between other pieces of furniture and never really, had enough time and focus in order to build on them and things like that. So, in order to make that happen, I've already had to move a whole bunch of stuff out of this room and clear the space so they'll have it ready for the bed that will fit in here. Now, originally in my bedroom, I had a loft bed, and it's something similar to what I had as a kid. I was used to having, it was kind of like having a bunk bed, but I never had a bottom bunk, or very short time had a bottom bunk. Even though I grew up with an older brother, I didn't have both of us, in the same. When we grew up, let's see, really traveling back in time, like 20 years plus. Um, we had a smaller house, but we still had two rooms, one for each of us. One on one side of the hallway for my brother, and the one on the other side of the hallway for me. We had our own stuff in between them. I would sometimes bring like bins of Lego from my room into his room where he had the video games, because of course he had the video games. But it was all good. So the bunk bed that I had as a kid was never used in the bottom bunk. It was a loft bed like other people have had. My cousin had a loft bed when he was growing up. The bottom wasn't used for a bunk, but rather just for, a desk space, a storage space. I think mine had a bookcase to it, things like that. So when I moved here in April of 2021, I had a loft bed that I found and was able to assemble all the pieces, or at least most of the pieces, I should say. We'll come back to that. Uh, and then the bottom of it would be used as a desk space. The idea of it was that we don't have a lot of wide space and deep space in order to pair things up. So we would use the height to our advantage because this is a tall room. The other rooms are very similarly, heightened like that. This is a ranch style house, so there's no upper or lower floor. There's no bedroom. There is an attic, but it's not livable attic or more of a crawling space. Um, so yeah, the idea was that I would use the loft bed in order to occupy the space more efficiently, because I didn't have the width and whatever. Now, this room has had a couple of different changes here and there where the tables would be, just to try to have it as an all-encompassing building space. But having it transform from the basement level that I had as an almost entire floor before moving and fully utilizing as a Lego room into this was not easy. So, recently it came to not only a conclusion, but also, so I remember the pin I said earlier about the bed being mostly intact. So there were pieces of the bed that I had extra screws. I didn't know if they went anywhere, but I don't know if I felt really comfortable sleeping in them. I was glad that I was able to sleep in it for as long as I have. However, I didn't fully. It wasn't fully peaceful because there were some times where the rungs of the ladder that led up to the bed would, crack in place and then snap, sometime later. And this was a bed that was supposed to occupy my weight, which I guess the ladder wasn't really on the same, didn't get the same memo. So I've had two rungs of the ladder break and more towards the bottom, unfortunately. So that means it's gonna be very hard to climb up to the bed. So I got the ladder replaced. It was like a metal ladder this time around. But the way the metal ladder was situated, there was a small space between the bed and the angle that the ladder was coming in, where there was a filing cabinet. And the rung of one of the rungs of the ladder met up perfectly with one of the top edge of the filing cabinet, which made it very uncomfortable trying to step up there to get into bed, or even stepping down sometimes. Because I don't want to apply the pressure onto the filing cabinet itself, and also being an uneven surface, with the not jiving with the ladder, made it uncomfortable. So, moving into here will be a platform bed, much closer to the ground. It'll have some drawers underneath so I can store clothes and other essentials. I will take the dark brown dresser that's from my bedroom and put it into here. So that will be facing along this side of the wall until further notice. If possible, I could fit it along there, and that would actually be really awesome. But we'll figure it out tomorrow when I get the platform bed in here. How that extra space will work out there. I've done some math with it. I've even done it to the point where I took Lego base plates and plotted out where everything went. So every inch represented, or every stud on a base plate represented an inch in the room. So yeah, it's been fun. Trying to figure that all out. I don't have it built right now, unfortunately, in order to do that. There's also the matter of these shelves. I have two of these. I picked them up from a neighbor, and I tried to situate them in this room, but unfortunately didn't quite work so well. They originally tried to fit into the bedroom, but with the bed, there was not a lot of furniture I could move around it to make it work easily. So it did eventually make its way into here, but it couldn't fit both of them on the side like I had measured because those hooks got into the way of the tops of this thing. So instead, I had one on this side of the room, one over here. It was right against the building table, so it meant it kind of blocked some of that space that I could use to build on, unfortunately. And it also meant that the stud side heights actually moved over. Now I've shifted it over here just to make it easier to clean and get everything underneath to get the table out. Unfortunately, I can't take the table out without taking everything off of it and folding it up in order to get it out of the hallway, or out of the room into the hallway, and then into the other room later. I do have the building table that's the same story. I'm working on that in the other room actually, so we'll see about that. But this is where it's at now, and it's going. Welcome, Sega. So up to this point, I have been doing a lot of piece by piece, taking things apart from stud side heights to try to break down what's here. So I took off the blue base plates along this side. I took off any loose parts that were in here and put them all into bags and things. They're all on the shelf, actually. That whole thing, that whole container is full of pieces, especially for the mountainside, which hopefully making the other room the Lego room will give me not only the better breadth of this table, but also motivate me more to build the full beach town that I've wanted to make over the past almost 2 years now. Underneath there is a whole bunch of Bionicle. There's also a whole bunch that are in here, so I'm not bothering to open that right now. I still have to figure out the closet, how that's going to work as far as personals and things, but that will happen when it happens. Same thing with some stuff on the wall here. It's probably going to come down, but I'll figure out the arrangement later. Again, it's mostly just about like I'm trying to clear the space, tonight so I can pick up the bed tomorrow, and then everything else will fall into place. As far as the Lego room, well, not this Lego room, the other Lego room. What is currently the bedroom, the wider space I was talking about, it will be a Lego room. That I have to disassemble the bed, and then take everything that's from around the bed out of the way, and then what's it called? Cyber, welcome to the stream. Long story short, I'm swapping rooms. So this is supposed to be a Lego room. I took almost everything Lego out of here, except for that and that and that and that, and it's going to become a small bedroom for me. And then the bedroom that I have is going to be a full-fledged Lego room, or more fledged. Full-fledged implies that it's like at the level the basement one was years ago before I moved. But nope, it's not going to happen yet. Not yet. There are also a whole bunch of things Lego-wise that I also took out of here and realized I don't really need them in the Lego room. I probably won't even take them when I bring into the other room over there. So I might actually put them into the Lego shed for storage. It's always something that I could just pop them in there for storage. It'll be fine. The video game stuff, I could always swap around any point in the house, but I would prefer to have it available, accessible in the house itself, in any of the rooms available to use. Because if it's sitting in a storage shed or in a closet or something, it's going to be forgotten. At least for me, I don't think it's going to be worthwhile if I put it into something like that, because years and years are going to pass, and some already have been like that before. Years and years have passed where I didn't even know I had certain things. I was like, oh man, this is good to find. Or like when I'm moving, I found a whole bunch of Xbox 360 stuff that I hadn't seen for a long time. So I'd like to fit video games in here. Theoretically, the platform bed will be along this wall or so, depending on if it fits better there. We'll figure it out, but it's going horizontally this way. That's the main point I want to bring across there. Depending on how it fits up with the door, if it's going to get in the way of that, I might move it towards this wall. We'll see. The dresser is going to be over here, and if this thing works out better, maybe it'll fit along this wall better, which would be fantastic because I have a very large CRT and no. And the best space I've been able to fit it on, the best piece of furniture up to this point, was fitting it on top of the dresser. So if I can put that on there and just move the whole thing, it'd be great. But that will be figured out when it gets figured out. The rest of the space in here, just kind of tossing in the air what's going to happen. I just need this room to be at least the essentials of, bed, clothes, whatever else I need to get the day going. All the hobby stuff like Lego or video games, it'll just float around as it always does between any of those rooms. It kind of already did in the other bedroom, but like I said, that room will be better dedicated to Lego stuff, and maybe if it doesn't work, the video game stuff could move into there again as well. One thing that's great about these units is that I can have these, what did you get for dinner? I actually had pizza for dinner. I had a personal pizza. I just threw it in the air fryer. So I don't know if I can help you with that. So anyways, I have two of these units, and I think they will fit very snugly in the space where my loft bed is. The way that the room is arranged, you walk in, you make a left, and you have the room itself. But in that corner where you turn left, it's like, maybe like 30 inches or so of wall space. It's kind of indented from where the door frame is. So that means something could fit in there, kind of like almost tucked away. And this kind of unit, these shelves would be beautiful for that. It'd be wonderful to fit those in there so it doesn't jut out into the open area of, the middle of the floor space in the room. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I had like what was it, DiGiorno's? Something like that. Yeah, it's a 9-volt controller. I got 9-volt track on here. Uh, as long as it works, I will utilize it. So yeah, Studside has always been built with a 9-volt track in mind. As long as I had a working set of it, I have I think 2 loops with track pieces used in between them to create this. The controller itself over here, I do have a second one probably buried with the other set of it. And actually, you have the motor attached onto one of the passenger trains, which originally had boost. So this would be very versatile. It's like if I want to use power functions, I can use power functions. If I want to use 9-volt, I can use 9-volt. If I want to use boost, I can use boost. But mostly because of the contacts in the track. If I had the other more modern versions of the track, 9-volt wouldn't work on it unless I did something extra to it. But this works for now. I'll do with it. But yeah, I did tear apart a whole bunch of Studside heights just to make that happen. I put it all on the shelf here, hoping that the shelves will work very nicely where the loft bed is, and it'll make a really nice, corner shelf display area, so we can have all different Lego sets and the all different arrangements of themes across them. I've mentioned before I want to do a Bionicle shelf, at least one shelf documenting some of it. I do want to have a shelf that's dedicated to Benny Spaceship from the Lego Movie and Galaxy Explorer. I have not built the Galaxy Explorer yet because I want to put it on the shelf. And I know where Benny's spaceship is. It's in the shed. It's in a clear plastic container that I just need to remove and reassemble because a whole bunch of parts on it fell apart, but it's all, all the pieces are there. And hopefully, when this table gets moved, it will be better expanded, actually having this whole area built. I know it looks like I haven't done anything with this in a while. It's because I haven't. I like to plan as I go, or rather do the whole plan and then go with it, and then I've backtracked a whole bunch of it. So, like, I've done a little bit here measuring this up, and then I'm like, I gotta bring it back and get other pieces, and this took forever to come up to where it is now, and it still might get changed. But with the goal of having this as a whole mountainside area on one level. I don't know if it's going to have any cutaways or anything, or if it'll get updated like that over time. Second area will have a campground and a cave. And then the third area on top of the cave will have a lighthouse. I know the lighthouse I want to put on here. I know it will fit up there very easily. And it will just be like a nice, almost triangular focal point for the whole beach town. A couple buildings will be in here, some shops and essentials, emergencies, and things like that. Of course, a lot of sand. Might have throw Anakin on there. I know you threw the the Lego reference in there, or the Star Wars reference in there. I will put the beach, or I'll put the ocean back on here. Luckily, I condensed that from when I first built Studside Heights here because I did not need a whole base plate or so of ocean area. I mean, I do like that they're selling at Walmart, but I don't need it for this particular layout right now. So yeah, I'll figure all that stuff out. I mean, if you want to, you're welcome to it. Now the other question comes of what about this area and the closet? Well, the closet, I think basically it'll take some time, but closet probably even more time. Thank you, I appreciate it. This area, for a while, I had this as a shelf for prolific Lego models. They have a little bit more class to them, a little more expert building style, and things like that. I do this to still rebuild some of the Simpsons house because it's missing a few pieces here and there. But that's been pretty set in stone of what I want to keep up there. As much as I'd love to put some of these models into the Studside Heights Beach Town, they won't fit. Or if they do, this is their space for the haunted house. This is their space for the old fishing store. They take up way more space than most of the base plate stuff that I build. And because of that, I build in a different style of buildings, and most of those would fit in, or what you see on most other Lego tours online. So, this, I'm not really sure yet. It might even stay. Honestly, I don't think it's going to change too much. I only had a couple changes over the past year, and even at that, it was mostly based on the Marvel stuff, which is always going to, move around to some degree. I do like those buildings, but they don't always have to be here. But it's really difficult sort of trying to put all of these onto shelves like these because I would have to actually. I mean, I'm glad I can adjust these. I can literally take the shelf itself out of the way, make a big space in there. I did that with Ninjago City, the first the first Ninjago City I had back in 2017 or so. Um, but also they do have notches. So I could adjust the shelves just a little bit in height if needed. Um, the hardest one with that would be the haunted house, which is almost 2 feet tall. So I don't know if that's gonna work. It's really something I'll figure out more. The decoration part, just like with Halloween and other holidays, the decoration part will come when everybody else is in place. That even goes with posters and things. All of this will get rearranged. I have a whole bunch of other posters and frames and things like that. I'll put in other ways from from not just not just one artist or just Lego themed, but various artists and other things that I've had over time. I think those are going to stay though, and not just because I don't want to interface with the fan. I've gone up there with the fan off and changed them as I needed to, but I don't think there's really much else I would want to put up there at that height. That's the top of the door. At that height, anything else that goes up there would be in peril if it was moved slightly and fell off. Like I wouldn't put the haunted house up there because if that thing fell, whether or not the fan was on, and crashes down on the floor, that's not fun to clean up. I'm glad it hasn't happened with the haunted house yet, but I don't want it to. Please don't let it happen. So, with all these being stuffed, Lego plushes, if they fall down, it's no big deal. They're not getting damage. I'm not getting damage. They're easy to clean up and prop back up in place. I don't remember if I did a full video about these yet. Probably should have. I know I recorded a video, and I remember talking with someone on live stream about these, but I don't know how much happened beyond that. So, yeah, all right. But there are some other ones that came out recently, and I'm already pressing for space as it is up here, and that's just over the past year with like a couple of them in here that came in. A couple of these have been around for a couple of years. I think some of those were from last year, or maybe the ones behind them, they're holiday edition. No, 2020, I think, had them. Let's see. So a whole bunch of them I got from Legoland when they had them online. And then just periodically other ones around. I think there's a banana costume one. I mean, I know there's a small banana costume one. I don't know if there's one sized up like those. There's apparently another version of the hot dog guy one. I don't know if I have to get two of them, but I just know it exists. But either way, yeah, I think they look great up there. They don't block the vent too much, and it's almost funny having astronauts by the vent. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Uh, so it's fine having them up there. They hold on perfectly fine. Very rarely do they actually fall down. And even if they do, no damage. No damage to me, no damage to them. It's all good. And baby Grogu up there. Yeah, baby Grogu. And I just throw someone off thinking, oh, it's Grogu, it's not baby Yoda. I said the right one. Cheated, thank you for joining as well. So yeah, I'm going to continue working on this. I'm going to move the dresser in real soon after I move this table out. And then I'll move the mattress in here, at least for now, and get the bed in tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be pretty busy getting all that figured out. And then other stuff, incidentally. Baby, it is true. That is absolutely more remarkable. I will try to catch the Nintendo Direct about the Super Mario movie, or at least the trailer. I'm really looking forward to that. I think they should have had that in the last Nintendo Direct instead of farming and RPGs for the whole time, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm excited for that. I don't know if I'll have time to do anything live with it, but I will still try to check it out when it happens. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I took longer than I expected. I also did this live because I ran out of space on my phone, so I couldn't fully record it. Yeah, I know what you said. So what was I gonna say? You made me lose my train of thought. I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah. So part of the reason why I haven't done a lot of videos is because of trying to rearrange the space and make something more comfortable. I also would like to have a sort of computer desk in here, some ability to use a computer in this room, but we'll see what happens. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'll work with it in the other rooms. Especially when it comes to streaming, I got to figure something out as far as, using the computer and stuff. Because it's like, oh, well, I don't just need the desktop here. I also need a couple systems that are, nearby in order to connect to the computer in order to stream with them. I'd love to do more of that. So I will, I'll figure that out. Keep you posted when things come up. And thank you guys again for watching. I take forever to say goodbye, don't I? That's just how it works. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Chaden. Thank you, Cyber the Wolf, and Nathaniel, aka Sega, for joining the stream. I'll talk to y'all later. Have yourselves a good one. And maybe Santa needs to stand upright. I'm actually surprised they haven't made a Halloween Lego plush yet. I guess the costumes count. But, yeah. Later.